What's a harmless/non-serious secret you've kept forever? My friend is a major Death Cab for Cutie fan. They came to our city a couple years ago, and I knew she wouldn't be able to afford the tickets to go. She was upbeat about it, but I know she was devastated by it. I bought tickets. 2 days before the show, I told her that the friend I originally planned to take couldn't go, and would she please come with me? There was no other friend. Told her I loved the band and would be sad to miss them. She of course accepted, and had the time of her life. She's doing much better now, but every couple of Christmases or birthdays she gets me some Death Cab merchandise because she knows how much I love the band. I can't stand their music. I literally have them blocked on Spotify. But now it's gone too far where I can't tell her. My mom is a health nut, with probably disordered eating, who wouldn't let us have cheese in the house when I was kid. When I was mid-20s, I bought a unit and my dad was helping me fix stuff up, so I provided lunch. I said to him, "Bet you're going to hate going back to work next week and not have any cheese on your sandwiches." It was then he told me his deepest secret: he had been buying blocks of cheese at work for years. I had no idea he was crafty. And my mom still doesn't. Poor dad has been retired for years though, so not sure on the current cheese consumption status. I convinced my sister I had entered us both in a blog giveaway. I won a coupon, but she won the grand prize, a $300 gift card to Lane Bryant. My sister was a size 16, and desperately needed new clothes, but would spend money on her baby grandkids and thin adult daughters. This was the only way I could make sure she spent it on herself. It's been 10 years. She doesn't know. When my brother was 4, he won a stuffed animal from a claw machine and it was his favorite thing ever. Slept with it every night for weeks. He fell asleep on the couch and was carried to bed but left his stuffed animal on the floor, and the dog decided to tear it to pieces during the night. I spent $40 trying to win another one and put it under his bed for him to find. Wow, didn't think this would blow up so much. Thank you for the awards and kind words. I'll do my best to pay them forward. Red heart. My dad is a doctor. When my daughter was little, she was terrified of hurting her ankle. Like any time she got the slightest twinge or rolled it slightly, she was convinced it was broken. My dad would take her to the office and run a fetal heart Doppler over her little ankle and tell her it was an X-ray machine and her ankle was fine. She's 13 and still convinced that Papa took actual X-rays of her ankle. I'm never going to tell her otherwise. My mom won a prize from SiriusXM at the beginning of the pandemic that never arrives even after she followed up. She had been so excited to win something for the first time that I finally found a record store with the items she won, paid for them, and arranged with them to use a generic shipping label and include an apology for the delay and congrats for winning label. She loves her prize and forgives them for RHE delay. I'm Canadian, and in high school, I had a crush on this girl who was originally born in the US. To try and impress her, I pretended I was an American who immigrated to Canada, too. I was so committed that I even gave her the address of my old home. It was really just a hotel I had stayed in while on vacation in Florida with my family. Since it was the early 2000s, she never verified. We didn't end up dating, but to this day, I never came clean. I wonder if she still thinks I'm an American. Several years ago, I was in a new relationship. In my grogginess in the morning while still in bed, I forgot my boyfriend had slept over the night before and I just let one rip super loud. Instantly, he is awake. The bed creaks and I remember he is there and am somewhat mortified until he nearly immediately tells my dog, also in the bed, that he will take him outside to poo as I pretend to still be asleep. He takes him outside and later when I am awake, he tells me about my dog's crazy fart. I let my pup take the fall. I can't remember why, but I was mad at my dad for something. As revenge, I added extra chili powder and hot sauce to our family chili. Turns out my family never really added enough seasoning to the chili as it was. and the food actually tasted a lot better as a result of my revenge tactic. I've overcorrected as an adult on seasoning food at times, but I do make a mean chili. When I had just got my license, I was kind of an idiot, as are most 16-year-old boys. It was snowing and I thought I would try to drift my car into a McDonald's parking lot from the road. I failed, obviously, and went down an embankment into another parking lot. Thankfully my car was mostly okay. I had to replace a quarter panel and a headlight, but nothing too serious. I told my parents I was avoiding a head-on collision and hit black ice. I have never told them the truth even though it has been 20 years since that incident. I could tell them and they wouldn't care really, but I just haven't and probably never will. This is the first time I have ever told anyone the truth about that day. As a previous nanny, I've seen many first steps and heard many first words, but I never share that. When I leave I say something like, I think little one is so close to walking/talking. It's a special moment parents deserve, who am I to take that from them? One baby was walking with me for a full 2 weeks before he showed his new trick to his parents. Every Thanksgiving in San Luis Obispo, my best friend and I are in charge of pies. We go to the Madonna Inn, a gloriously outlandish hotel/restaurant/bakery/resort, and ask for 2 of their pie boxes. We then go to Safeway and buy 2 much cheaper pies and put them in the boxes. We bring them to our large family gathering and everyone compliments the wonderful pies because of how amazing the Madonna Inn's reputation is for baked desserts. I'd like to say this is because of concerns about cost or because the Safeway pies are better, but the truth is my BF and I have been doing this for about a decade now, and it's just become one of our favorite traditions together. Every Christmas I would write a fake Christmas newsletter, like those letters some people send every year with updates about their life, family, etc., and send it to my parents. I made up this guy who was a huge blowhard, but believable enough that my dad thought maybe he had worked with him at some point in the past. I had a spreadsheet to keep track of his job, wife, children, grandchildren, holidays, etc., so that I could stay accurate from year to year. My parents would get so annoyed at his arrogant writing style, but I was really proud of it, lol. It went on for 6 or 7 years, but then his twin granddaughters graduated high school and I stopped. If anyone was at the Hyatt Regency in Columbus, Ohio right before the Origins Game Fair in 2018, I have your white noise machine. You left it in the hotel room. I didn't even realize for half my stay. I was like, oh, this is actually really convenient, figuring it was just a new thing the hotel was doing. That is, until I visited my friend's room, where they didn't have one, then noticed I could unplug the one in my room, and realized it must have been left behind. I told the front desk about it, but they insisted it didn't need to be moved to a lost and found. Told them to tell me if anyone called looking for it, but no one did. So, thank you, forgetful stranger, it has actually helped immensely with my sleep. In 2009, my best friend was struggling to pay rent when his TV broke. So I went and bought him an at the time 42-inch HD TV for over $1,000. I knew he would never accept me spending that much as a gift. So I took it out of the box and put a few small scratches on the back of it and told him I bought a new TV and that he could have my old one that I didn't use anymore. Well, he's doing way better now financially, but he has no idea I did that and I will never tell him. When I first met my wife's 93-year-old grandma about 13 years ago, she had me try her holiday dish, congealed salad. It's basically lime jello made with condensed milk, and it has pineapple, walnuts, marshmallows, and celery mixed in, and it is poured into a bundt cake pan to set. It's a terrible, old-timey southern dish. She was so excited to let me try it that I panicked and said it was amazing. She absolutely lit up, and every year, since then, she has exponentially increased the amount she makes, because she knows how much I love it. The bundt cake pan has long since been replaced with a literal punch bowl. The rest of the family knows I hate it, and it's just silently accepted that I will eat huge amounts of it each year instead of telling her the truth. I was 7 and we were moving from one farm to a bigger one. Mom was taking garbage out to the burn barrel and burning it. In the rural 80s, we just burned everything. I started looking at the fire when she went back inside and discovered a burning ice cream lid. I picked it up and threw it like a frisbee, and it did a nice arc and landed right at a large stack of hay that was quite a ways away. I was horrified and went running in and told Mom some paper had floated up and onto the hay. Other than the huge stack of hay burning down, there was no harm done. It was old hay anyway, that's why it wasn't stored in the barn. When my friend moved into her first apartment, she didn't have any tools for basic repairs. I spent a few hundred on a tool bag, socket set, screwdrivers, cordless drill, wrenches, level, etc. Took everything out of the packaging and gave her the bag of tools. I told her they were my extras and showed her how to do some of her repairs. She still doesn't know everything was brand new and, frankly, nicer than my own tool set. Dad, I lied that day in kindergarten when I said I had a tummy ache and needed to go home. I was totally fine, I was just super bored and wanted to spend time with you. I bought a decommissioned fire chief's vehicle from the Richmond Fire Department auction and got them to donate it to my grandmother. She never would have accepted it if it came from a family member. Man. My secret story is not as heartwarming as the others on here. But I feel like writing it out anyhow. My little sister loved dragons and collected little inexpensive statues and toys. I was 15 years old and had my first job working at Friendly's. I saved up my money to buy her something way out of my price range for her birthday. It was this tiny statue, over $100. A fortune for a teen, because it was adorable and perfect, a dragon just coming out of an egg. I was so excited to give it to her. My mom, who honestly has a novel's worth of issues, had no money and hadn't planned. 2 nights before my little sister's birthday, she told me she hasn't gotten her anything at all, so I gave it to my mom to give to her. It made me sad not to have much of a present for my sister. I gave her a card and some candy, but I knew her heart would break if Mom gave her nothing. 30 years later and I still haven't told. My younger sister and I would sneak a Christmas present from under the tree, surgically remove the tape, carefully unwrap the gift to see what it is, and then wrap it back exactly how it was, put it back under the tree exactly how it was. My daughter lost her favorite stuffed animal and was devastated. I went online and found a replacement on eBay for an insane price, because it turns out her stuffed puppy was a collector's edition, FML, and the one I found was in mint condition. I then rubbed it in dirt, washed it a few times, and ripped off its leather on its nose and filled it in with black permanent marker, also it matched the one she had. We then told her that her puppy had been found, and the joy on her face made the expense and time it took crafting it well worth it. She is 13 now and still keeps her puppy on her bed. I plan to take this to my grave. My mom lent my now mother-in-law her trifle dish for Christmas dinner. It was the last thing my mom had of her sister, as she had died suddenly that year. They were super close and trifle was their thing. My mother-in-law dropped it and she replaced it with the exact same one, no idea how, as the original was pretty old. We decided never to tell my mom. It's sort of a running joke now. At Christmas we wind my mother-in-law up, and every time it's mentioned she is hysterical, having to relive the moment she dropped it all over again. I bought a surprise plane ticket to see my long-distance girlfriend after 1 year apart. She told me there was somebody else some days before the flight. I used to be a Jehovah's Witness. I was raised that way. I did not join by choice, lol, and when we went door to door, I used to pretend to press the doorbell so I didn't have to actually bother anyone and talk to them. My best friend streamed on Twitch for 1 year, and I was all of her viewers. She regularly streamed to one viewer, me, so I made multiple accounts and pretended to be a stranger who would talk to us during stream. I gave them different personalities, different ways of speech, different backgrounds. I would even create Discord chats to make them seem believable. Eventually, she gained a following and I didn't need to anymore, and later she stopped streaming altogether. She still doesn't know. At our 6th grade Halloween party, I found my crush's favorite watch in the garbage bin with a broken band. Took it out, fixed it, gave it back to her. When her friend pestered me, why would you fix that for her? I lied and said someone else told me to, not wanting to be found out for having feelings for her. When I was like 9, my parents had incense, and I thought it was weed, so I tried to smoke it out of an incense.